Hey there, I'm Steve, and welcome to Jamson Entertainment. And welcome to the conversation. Just before we get started, there are many ways you can help. You can like and subscribe so you never miss a conversation. But most importantly, please share this video. Get the word out there as a community. We can talk about all things that we love. I recently just saw John Wick 4. This movie returns to form. In looking up the complete cast for this movie, I also was thinking to myself, did I review John Wick Parabellum? Turns out I didn't. So look forward to that down the road. As to who is starring in this, of course, Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, Lance Reddick, may he rest in peace, Clancy Brown, Ian McShane, Bill Skarsgård, Donnie Yen. It probably didn't go this way, but it would be hilarious if they approached Donnie Yen like this. Remember what you did in Rogue One? Could you do that again? Just a little hint of what kind of character he plays. Hiroyuki Sanada, Shamir Anderson, George Giorgio, sorry for mispronounced that, Marco Zaror, Amy Kwan, Rina Sawayama, and Natalia Tena. To briefly go over the third movie, well really just the ending of it, John's goal has progressively gone higher in the universe that this is in, from simply going after the guy who killed his puppy to the head of the high table. And that's his goal in this movie. And the reason why I say this is back to form, there were some parts in the third one, I don't know, it felt just the tiniest bit short for me. When I get to reviewing it, we'll go over it in detail. Without spoiling though. Along with John going after the high table, Winston, the owner of the Continental, his actions have consequences. Yes, he did his best to look like he was trying to help the high table, but the high table's not dumb. And so he pays a very, very heavy price, which in turn, he only doubles down on his position. He's just out in the open now with him being against the high table. But not quite. He is looking to be reinstated because in this one, part of the retributions for his sins is him losing the Continental. So he's out to get that back. He realizes he has to help John even further to achieve that. So he has to walk a razor wire between not getting too involved with helping John and helping John. Especially when it comes to this new character, Marquis. He is the representation of the high table. I'm sure there are plenty of other people at the high table in this universe, and it would be interesting to see movies about this universe, not necessarily with John Wick in it, because I don't want to see them beat a dead horse. There's definitely enough in this universe for spin-off movies. That's all I'm really saying. And we're introduced to another new character, Nobody, or Mr. Nobody. He calls himself Nobody, but the Marquis refers to him as Mr. Nobody. He's a wild card in this one. You don't know what he's gonna do, and it makes it very interesting because there are times where he's after John, there's times where he's helping John. It's really nerve-wracking not knowing what he's going to do. And then, as I mentioned earlier, you have Donnie Yen's character, Kane. He's a blind man, if you didn't get my reference/joke in the beginning. He's not quite as OP as he is playing, I think his name is Cheerwit in Rogue One. I'll put it in post. The character in Rogue One might as well have been a Jedi because he had 100% accuracy. Here, Kane acts more like a real blind person, where he uses all of his senses, especially hearing, to fight his opponents. It is very, very satisfying and fascinating to watch this character just move through this movie and how he executes everything that he does. I'm just realizing, going through the story in my head, I missed a character. This movie is also starring Scott Adkins in a surprise role. I'm not familiar with this actor, but looking him up on IMDb, he is wearing a fat suit. But do not let that deceive you. It's a really fun scene that he's in. That's all I'm going to say about that. This movie surprised me, not only going back to form, but also escalating everything. I normally don't like talking to our movies, but there were definitely some moments where me and the audience were expressing our excitement verbally. This movie is nail-biting, edge of your seat, white-knuckle tight intense. Just like the first and second movie. Third movie, yeah, it has that in there, but to me, that's the weaker of the four. And I'm so glad that this goes back to its roots. And I couldn't guess where this movie was going. I really couldn't. It could have gone so many ways. And I'm glad it wasn't predictable, especially being the fourth movie in. This was such a treat to watch. I can't recommend this movie enough. You gotta go out and see it in theaters. And when it comes out on 4K, you gotta get it on 4K. Those are my thoughts on John Wick Chapter 4. That's the actual title. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching and live your imagination.